My name is Wolverine. I'm the best there is at what I do. But what I do isn't very nice.
Yo guys, it's Haunting Lime, and as you can probably tell from my thumbnail, I've reached expert ranking with this specific team using Perrserker, going berserk in the Ultra League Premier Cup. So I'm pairing that up with Gyarados, which is an amazing save switch. I had no idea how good it was until I used it again recently after such a long time, and mine's ranked 1, which is even better. It has a really good matchup against quite a lot of good things. And quite a lot of neutral matchups against a lot of things. So Perrserker is such a solid lead, and you know, the star of the show as well is also Shadow Swampert. So I finally was able to build a Shadow Swampert for the Ultra League, and the whole team performed super well. So it's not just a highlight of just Perrserker, it's also a highlight of how good Gyarados is as a save switch, as you can see, and also how good Shadow Swampert actually is. So leading with Perrserker, you often switch out into your saves Gyarados if you go up against a fighter, and usually your opponent will switch into their Venusaur. Hence, your Shadow Swampert doesn't have to see the Venusaur at all. So it's also great. The great thing about Gyarados, before he goes down, it can get off a crunch and also an Aqua Tail, and this gets it into the range where I can come in, and thankfully I got a shield there as well. I can come in with my Perrserker and just fully commit to the farm down and have so much energy ready. Usually Perrserker is such a powerhouse where if it lands at close combat, it'll do at least 50% of more or less everything apart from Umbreon, or even the foul plays are quite heavy hitting. So usually committing a shield, you get a shield back, so it's not a problem. So here I'm taking 2 Frenzy Plants. The reason why I like Perrserker as a lead is because things like Empoleon it can do really well against, stuff like Abomasnow. Also one of the main reasons I actually played it in the lead, and what is it? Venusaur it can handle pretty well too. So my opponent brings back the Obstagoon, I throw the close combat, I got both shields, and now this is going to be pretty much game from the end, because Charizard is definitely not going to appreciate these Hydro Cannons coming out from Shadow Swampert. So yeah, this team performed absolutely amazing. I didn't think this team would do so well. It got me from like about 20 to 2550 all the way up to 2884, which is the highest I've ever actually been in my lifetime, actually, in the Go Battle League. So it's a big moment for me. I am showcasing just 2 sets today, so just kind of show you the overall gameplay in terms of how the team performs. I didn't actually record anything going up towards the higher 2800s, just because I want to kind of save those for later on, maybe, especially if the team goes all the way up to Legend. But no, the team performed really well. Obviously, with the team, I went on many 4-1 streaks, got loads and loads of rare candies, and again, you can see a lot of bad leads. But the great thing about Gyarados is that you don't need to use a shield, because it absorbs so much damage from other things. But then you can kind of use that shield advantage on your Perrserker as well as the Swampert in the back. The Swampert in the back with 2 shields is almost unbeatable, unless you know you have just loads and like heavy charmers or something. So here, my opponent is bringing his Drifloon into my Gyarados. It's not going to appreciate the icy winds, but it's fine. But I also got Crunch to kind of counteract or give some damage back. So he shields the first one, obviously, because he doesn't want to take more damage or extra damage. So now this Crunch won't be doing too much damage, but it does get it into the low. And obviously, it being ghost typing, my Perrserker can come in and just Shadow Claw it down. Most likely, we'll take a Shadow Ball, because it probably won't throw an Icy Wind. There's no need to in this case, because end of the day I'll most likely switch out. So a heads up play by my opponent is to actually throw a Shadow Ball, which is great by them. I'm fully able to commit to the farm down, and I'm going to switch out immediately. So like I said, if you have a shield advantage on Shadow Swampert, usually that can help you win the game pretty comfortably. So I'm not going to shield the first Night Slash because it's not boosted, so I don't have to worry about it too much. And you know, it's fairly bulky, even though it's a Shadow Swampert. It's fairly bulky in the Ultra League. It's taking those counters fairly well, and obviously I've built so much energy. The second one most likely will go through, or if it doesn't go through, it's fine. I can build up to a third one, which you can see here. So having those shields, I've got 2 shields obviously, I can't flex those, can I? So having these 2 shields is vital. I did start misplaying a bit more into the higher 2800s with this team and not kind of leaving with shield advantage against the Machamp leads. So I've been seeing a lot more Machamp leads as you get higher up in the leagues. Not great, not ideal, but the team can play around it. It just depends on the rest of the composition. So as you can see, well played to my opponent. On to the next game. So he is an ideal lead. Obviously, you can also take the waterfall damage, but you can also take a hydro cannon, but it'll leave you pretty close to being KO'd, and you'll have almost 2 close combats. So the whole idea here is just shield once, because you want to preserve that health and build up to 2 close combats, because you'll get to 2 close combats before your opponent gets to a second hydro cannon. And throwing the first one usually gets a shield because no Empoleon wants to get close combated straight away, and the second one is whatever comes through. Usually I end up seeing a Togekiss quite a lot, but obviously this is the Empoleon Double Dragon team. See that close combat? It's so much damage, and now the Gyarados is actually there to clean up house from even that save switch. So another thing about the Gyarados save switch, Dragonites and Kingdras are pretty much everywhere. A lot of teams are playing Kingdras as save swaps, so the Dragonite actually acts as a really good anti-fighter. So not Dragonite, the Gyarados acts as a great anti-fighter as well as an anti-Venusaur counter as well, because obviously it takes resist damage from or neutral damage, sorry, from the frenzy plants, and it also baits out the Venusaur, so my Swampert doesn't have to see it. So it's just a typical ABB team. I am going to try this team slightly differently now, because I know how to play. Perrserker plays very much like Obstagoon. Obstagoon, like I said in many of my previous videos, is a phenomenal lead. I love playing it, and I want to see how the team performs with Obstagoon and maybe a Kingdra and a Gyarados save switch. So I'm currently building a Kingdra at the moment. I'm just a little bit short, but I do think the team can go all the way to Legend. Pretty excited. I know getting to 2884 is an achievement for me. It might not be for a lot of people, but I have been trying. I've been learning from Season 1. Sadly, this team has gone on to a bit of a losing streak since last night. I think I went down to about 27, 25. So you know, the team went all the way up to that point and was constantly hovering, you know, 3-2s, wasn't getting 4-1s at the time, was misplaying a little bit myself as well, so started seeing a lot more Snorlaxes as well as Laprases, and so many fighters, man. It's such a pain to deal with. So I think I need to jitch around with the team composition a little bit to kind of get myself back and past the 2800 mark. So another great thing about Perrserker is it has a really good coverage of the meta. Shadow Claw does really well against a lot of things. It's heavy hitting damage and really fast energy generation, and Foul Play hits pretty hard. Where's the Dark Pulse? Foul Play, I think, hits pretty hard. Obviously fairies are... Perrserker is a weird one because it can do decently against fairies, but it doesn't really have any hard-hitting, punishing moves apart from like Iron Head, which you don't really want to put it on Perrserker. My opponent again save switches into Drift Flame onto my Gyarados, which is fine. These crunches aren't going to be appreciated, obviously. So yeah, usually I don't actually worry about getting switch advantage with a Gyarados save switch. So what I tend to do is I tend to farm my opponent down to a place where either my Swampert can come in and fully commit to the farm down and have tons of energy with a shield advantage, or do the same thing with Perrserker and throw all that energy on the next Pokemon that comes in. So in this case, most likely, I got both shields from my opponent. He is able to fully commit to the farm down, which is sad. But my Perrserker is fairly healthy. I'm going to have to commit a shield, whichever Pokemon I bring out. I do decide to bring the Perrserker out. This is most likely going to be a Shadow Ball. I'm going to shield this, but it actually turns out to be an Icy Wind, so well baited by my opponent. Does weaken me quite a bit, and obviously Venusaur is going to be tricky to deal with because obviously even my Swampert is not going to appreciate facing him. So my opponent obviously is going to get to the charge rooms quite fairly quickly. I'm switching out here maybe just to kind of catch something, but yeah, it's pretty much game on this scenario. So I do go 4-1 in the first set. Pretty good. I was able to go 5-1, I think, at about 2790. That got me all the way to 2860, so that was a pretty 5-1, that was a pretty amazing set. Definitely the meta does shift quite a lot day per day, but I do think whilst the whilst the Premier Cup is still here, I should be able to get to Legend ranking for the first time with this magnificent team, maybe with a few tweaks. So if you do fancy playing this team, Perrserker is an amazing lead. Just get anything on the back that is great against fighters. I might even try Perrserker with Charizard and a Drift Flame, but I'll have to see. A lot of different combinations. Perrserker, mine is level 41, even though it's a good ranking for XL. Just don't have the XL candies, sadly. It's such a big investment, and my main priority at the moment now is to get a Kingdra, because I think Kingdra is probably the missing tool I need in place of the Gyarados, maybe, to get to legend ranking. But yeah, in the meantime, Gyarados is a pretty good alternative because it resists, or it does fairly well against Venusaur. It does fairly well against all the water types that are around, even a great swap against Charizard, Swampert, great swap against an Empoleon, and also a Kingdra as well. So it's pretty amazing in the sense that Gyarados has such good coverage, and it does pretty well against Machamp. Machamp is, like I said, is everywhere, so you need something that can actually do quite a lot of damage. So here, I'll concentrate back on the actual explanation of the video. So I'm going for the foul plays. Don't want to close combat here because I don't want to debuff myself and take too much extra damage. I was trying to switch. Sadly, I wasn't able to get the switch correctly and catch a move. So how I usually play out the Swampert lead matches is I try and catch the 5th mud shot on. Well, I try on the 5th mud shot. I swap into Gyarados to catch the Hydro Cannon, and usually it works, but usually my opponent throws a Sludge Wave, which isn't ideal, but it does the job. So here, it's a bit of a tricky one. Having the 2 shield advantage definitely helps his team. So the whole idea of the team is to have shield advantage going in, and because I was able to power up, well, to get this Alolan Alolan Ninetales quite fairly low, this Hydro Cannon will take it out. So bit of a dicey game, but able to get the win there as well. So we'll play it to my opponent. So this is my for one set. First set. Sorry guys, I'm still a bit excited, still a bit jarred that I got so high up and then kind of fell back down, but I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep on trying. This team again is phenomenal. I highly recommend it. You can tweak certain things if you want to, so change out the Perrserker for an Obstagoon, the Gyarados for a Kingdra, and even the Swampert for even a Charizard or something, or even a Drifblim. So it's basically something that's great against, you know, the meta, has counter or some sort of fighting move, and then anti-fighters in the back. So onto a pretty bad lead. Snorlax is pretty tanky, so I got the close combat off and switch immediately into my Gyarados, and I should be able to Dragon Breath it down. So usually how I like to play that is just to kind of go straight for the close combat straight away. Snorlaxes don't shield, the first one. Laprases tend to, but with Laprases I tend to build up to 2 close combats. So Gyarados is fairly good against fairies. It has a pretty good matchup against Togekiss because it can get to 3 Aqua Tails and it almost KOs, or should KO. It's a very close match. Clefable is a bit more of a struggle because of how tanky it is. Obviously I'm going to go for this big close combat here, but most likely it's going to get shielded, and it does. The great thing about Perrserker, it gets shields back really quickly. It's a powerhouse in that department, so it's really good at getting you back shield advantage, and then obviously using that shield advantage again, like you'll see here on the Swampert. So Swampert, MVP of the team. But Perrserker kind of holds his own, gives him that support to finish off the game or close off the game quite comfortably. Shadow Swampert is amazing. If you have one, use it. Get it in a team and just utilize it as much as you can. It hits hard. The only thing it struggles against a little bit is Kingdra, but the Earthquake is there to kind of deal that extra heavy hitting damage. A lot of people will probably argue that Sludge Wave might be more ideal. It probably is on Shadow Swampert, because on the regular Swampert I hate Sludge Wave because it doesn't do enough damage on the Venusaur, and Earthquake gets the Venusaur into the red, so I do like it on the Shadow Swampert quite a lot. I don't think even a Shadow Swampert with Sludge Wave will be enough to take out or do quite a lot of damage to the Venusaur, so I prefer the Earthquake because it just hits harder, and plus you can Earthquake things like Kingdra as well as Snorlax. So my opponent's XL Clefable goes down, and as you can see, Swampert closing off games like a champ, so performing really well. So you'll see me going up against quite a few, well, not right now, but I went up against quite a few legends in my climb to 2800s. Quite nerve-wracking, you know, the pressure gets to you, so you make a lot of mistakes. I'm not gonna lie, I could have done better in some matches and probably gone a bit higher up, but this is what it is. The grind is going to begin now to legend. You have to kind of persevere. You will lose a few games, you know, you'll go positive sets, you'll have negative sets. It's all part of the team, but don't quit on the team. So I'm going to try and utilize the team, tweak it a little bit, but I do believe the team is strong enough to go all the way. Because Perrserker, people just aren't used to seeing it. It's not that common as a meta lead, because it's quite hard to get hold of the XL version, but it does really well against, you know, Umbreon, Abomasnow, anything that's weak to fighting or dark types. And yeah, even the Gengars and stuff like that. So yeah, seeing another Machamp here. So one thing I've learned, and you know, it understands about learning thing, you can comfortably take a rock slide from a non-shadow Machamp on the Gyarados and still do quite a lot of damage back. So it's all about learning the matchups really well and learning how much your Pokemon can tank and deal out. So sadly I wasn't able to get to an Aqua Tail there. It was really close, but look, it's left it in the range where I can just farm it down with Mud Shots, and Swampert just needs a tiny little bit of energy, just give it an inch and it'll go a mile. And it's got so much energy ready now. In comes a Venusaur, but you'll see this Earthquake does quite a lot of damage. So had I had more Pokemon, it would have been different. My opponent does a really good catch as well, so he rubs the salt in my wounds there completely. But well played to my opponent. That was some savvy plays. But yeah, the team obviously does have weaknesses. I'm starting to see a lot more Ampharoses, but they tend to be in the lead, so it's not too bad of a matchup. But yeah, having the double water type does mostly take out the Venusaur against the Gyarados, and then your Swampert has a bit more play in the back. So again, opponent has a Machamp, so a lot of Machamp leads you'll see in my games, and Clefables are pretty much everywhere as well. And it's always best to just go for the Aqua Tail here because one, you get Stab with the water typing, and also you get to him fairly quickly as well. Clefable is tanky though, so you aren't going to win switch, so there's no point committing a shield here. Just try and do as much damage as possible. I have thought about trying Waterfall Gyarados, but the energy generation Waterfall isn't that high, and the only matchup would probably do well against is probably a Swampert, where Gyarados already does quite well. Dragon Breath Gyarados does really well against Venusaur. It's counter. It does really well against other Dragon types, and it does pretty well against Charizard too. So Dragon Breath, I would say, is the go-to for Gyarados, unless you have a team that requires you to use Waterfall on Gyarados. So here, going for the close combat, this should go through. Always gets shielded. Machamp, so as you can see, again, 2 shields to 1 for Machamp. Machamp usually hurts my team quite a lot because it has Shadow Machamp hurts it a lot actually, because Shadow Machamp just hits really hard, and also it is really good. It does pretty well against my Swampert, because Swampert, it's not the tankiest of things. It does, the counter damage does add up, so here it's not looking too great, but the 2 shield advantage is going to pay off. So I should be able to get 2 Hydro Cannons here and take out this level 9tails. I am counting the Icy Winds, the Powder Snows, because I want to basically get as much energy as possible before my opponent gets to a charge move. So one thing I've started doing a lot more now, I think maybe one of the reasons why I got to Expert, is the fact that I'm counting moves. So here, as you can see, I was able to get to another Hydro Cannon. It's counting my opponent's moves. I'm just learning how the counts work, because it's almost vital. It's very vital to actually know where your opponent is at with energy, and that would be it's game changing. It gets you from being veteran to expert. I'm not saying I'm any good or anything. I'm still learning. The whole idea is to learn and to improve. So I've still got a lot of learning to do, because that's why I'm still an expert and why I've kind of come back to planet Earth again. But again, like I said, it's all about learning, and I'm going to learn to count and also learn certain matchups a lot better. And then with that knowledge, I should be able to kind of transition that into the gameplay. So as you can see, I get a perfectly good catch there. I think it's just a body slam, it's not even a superpower. Or yeah, it's just a body slam. So I don't really catch anything. Usually Gyarados also baits out the Charm users, because obviously they don't want to be matched up with the Steel type, even though you don't really have any hard-hitting moves on the Perrserker. But it's good to see it out, because then you can kind of whittle it down to a point where it's more manageable. Shadow Claws add up quite a lot. The main damage you're going to do is with your fast moves on Perrserker, because everything else is resisted. But Perrserker isn't the tankiest of things. I have been taken out from like yellow health, or like one fifth of my health with a Meteor Mash from Clefable. So you need to learn how bulky your Pokemon are as well. So you know you can take Snorlax back in, and one of these close combats is going to go through. This first one goes through, which is brilliant, and then this is where I make a mistake and just throw the second one straight onto the Stokis. This is double resisted, flying typing and also the fairy typing. If I had gone for the dark pulse, or the foul play, the dark type move, it would have done more damage because it's only single resisted. But thankfully, again, like I said, give Swampert a shield or 2, and it will carry you to the win. So yeah, the team overall works really well together. There can be adjustments made, changes, but this is my first trial running the team. Ran it for 3 days. 2 days, brilliant. 3rd day, you know, you always have a day where it doesn't always go too well, but the first day I was able to climb at least 300 points with this team. The first 2 days, not the first day, 300 points with this team, and that led me all the way to getting this far. Just gonna have a quick look, see if my voice recording is still happening, because sometimes computers can be weird. Looks like it's gonna have technical issues. So yeah, team been performing really well. Hopefully it does well for you guys too. Do give it a try and see what it can do for you. And yeah, let me know how things go. I believe I'm still recording. Let's have a look. Yeah, still recording. So on to the last few games. I believe this is another set where I go 4-1. So you'll see me just about, well, edging over to expert ranking. So I'm hyped. I tried doing my sets at midnight as soon as it's released, but it's not ideal because of work. So I'm going to try and change up my routine a little bit to kind of get the sets in at a better time. I do find sets in at 12 are a little bit better against my opponents, but obviously it's not ideal, like I said, for work. So I am itching to get my next few sets in because I really want to push towards legend ranking. And you know, when you have faith in your team and self-belief, you can do it. So that's the idea. It's just a matter of kind of having the sets to actually play out. So I'm able to take this much amp out. So yeah, again, like I said, energy on Swampert with shields is devastating against most teams, and yeah, even this surf won't take me out here. So this is pretty much a GG. My opponent is going to try, but I'm able to outpace it to a surf, which is brilliant because that's all. That's not a surf. Outpace it to a hydro cannon. That's all I need, and this will KO. I do obviously have some energy, and I want to basically get as much energy possible off onto this. The reason why I'm going for the close combat is because it's going to do the most amount of damage, and my opponent has to throw a superpower to take me out. So the Shadow Claws weren't doing too much damage, so the superpower actually will debuff its attack, and because of that debuff I'm able to get to this Hydro Cannon. So this was a really close game. Had I not switched out straight away, my opponent probably would have got to a superpower before me, and that would have probably cost me the game. So well played to my opponent. That was pretty close, but I was able to salvage that for a 4-1. Brilliant game, and you know, it was, like I said, I love using the team. Perrserker is an absolute beast, and you can see me getting to expert ranking. So feels good, guys. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, take care, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you.